Okay, sorry guys out here on YouTube. Yeah, so it can get sometimes to be almost as an asylum here. We have therapeutic children that people out there having sex um, don't think about being responsible for their spawn. And so, but they're children, that's not their fault. So we're trying to make a difference. Listen, and so somebody got to take care of them and provide them support and help them get through life, and hopefully to change their perspectives to overcome their handicaps, because they do have a handicaps, and and to become successful in their lives and have a chance at living right like everyone else. You have your life, you have your play and your enjoyment of life. They deserve the same things. Not therefore they didn't say, hey daddy, mommy, give birth to me, hurry up, get with it, and so I can. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't their fault, right? Um so let us be understanding of that. I know you guys can understand that. I know you guys are not used to hearing from me any type of family things or anything. It's always been business or a Bible or something like that. But the facts are what they are. I can no longer record or do any programming without the sound of aspirations of life around me floating into the space here. So it is what it is. So I appreciate that. That you have that understanding and patience. Okay? Every once in a while, I have to send out the voice of God to the far reaches of this home so that they can be reminded that they're to be silent, but they're not. They can't. So we know that. Okay, so as I was saying, I was sharing here with our viewers across the other network, and I'm going to fix that screen now for our people on YouTube so you can get that shot the way it's supposed to be. And let's see, we got the top camera here. Yeah, I see. So, okay, so you guys on YouTube can see what I was referring to here. And yes, was for the Trump election, we had this issue where people were not understanding how is it that the popular vote did not elect the president. So there was this big talk about what's this electoral college, electoral college. Now, when I went to school, I distinctly remember that we were taught about the electoral college. It's one of the classes that you take. The girls, can you close that door, please? Thank you. So it's one of the things that you're taught in school, and you're taught that the presidents are not elected by the popular vote. You're distinctly taught in school that the a thing called the electoral college is what elects the president truly. That was a very clear and clear teaching, without a doubt, when we were in school, attending school and attending our classes. So it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me, really, how. Um, one moment for the YouTube guys. I gotta correct what you're seeing on your screen. One moment. So it's amazing to me. It's like right now I can't get the bottom camera to show for our YouTube folks. So I'm sorry about that. Again, where we were discussing earlier about this OBS. that it seems to be looping or multiplying the sources, and it's freaking out. It's not working as it should, and so I'm going to look at that. Of course, I have two instances on, but it does it even before with the one instance, so I don't think it has to do anything with that. But anyway, we went to school and we learned about the electoral college and how presidents are elected. I was at school that day. I don't know where everyone else was. I don't know where you guys went to school. I don't know if you attended that class, you played hooky. I don't know what it's about, what the problem is in this country that this class wasn't given to y'all. You didn't understand. I don't know what it was. So I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying that this was part of our education when I was growing up. And I grew up in New York City public education. So I was in no private school. I wasn't given no tutoring or anything. This was it. This was a day in the classroom. So, so that was that. And I also remember distinctly from back when I took the class, that lesson of that class, the reason for it. I remember to this day, incredibly so. Right? It's like clear as day to me. And it's surprising to me that so many people in this country are not aware of the Constitution or the reasons like the Electoral College exists. It's so very important. I also grew up, I was looking at the election campaigns. I was listening to the news. I wasn't playing games. That's another thing. I think a lot of people just play games. They're just not paying attention to what they should be, and then things are a surprise. So this lady, I know her from I know her for a long time here, at least in Facebook. I'm pretty sure I should recognize her from before, but I just can't anymore these days. But in any case, if I should, then I'm sure she'll forgive me. But in any case, she puts up this link to this Goodbye Electoral College popular vote movement gaining steam. And I'm looking at this gaining steam? Where were you when the class was given? So I go in and I say, can never happen if people in the big cities want to keep eating. The reason why it was set up was to ensure that the farmers would have an equal vote in weight to balance the overpopulated cities. Because the problem with electing by majority vote is that everyone doesn't have the same needs. You're voting because now most of the people in the country, anywhere in the world, I hear this a lot. It's wrong. It really is wrong. But this is the way you guys vote. You guys vote according to your needs and your wants, really, what you want, which you shouldn't do. But that's the way people vote. They hear something they like. Yeah, I'm going to vote for that candidate because of what they said that I like. And that's really not the way to do anything, especially to vote. But that's the way most people do vote. So 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 because of that, it became very apparent in the early years of this country that the most important people of the country, or to the country and to all the people, were never going to be able to make sure that their needs were met. And it wasn't really their wants at that point, it's their needs. And what is it? These are the farmers of this country. The farmers are the ones that in the early years produced the food that everybody needed to survive, to eat, especially the big cities. Because in order for there to be a big city, there has to be a provision of food because you guys in the big city are not growing food, but you need to eat, right? You guys are eating. But you guys want to live in big apartments and have your place in the city and all of that. Well, that means no farmland there. You can't have farms in the middle of Manhattan. It's commerce, business, and high-rise apartment buildings, right? So where's your food coming from? You have to understand. People in the big city have to understand something. That supermarket you go and buy food at, and the restaurants you go and eat at, they need to get their food relatively close in order to keep the price low enough so that you can walk in and feel good about having your breakfast, having your lunch, or having your dinner in their establishment, or going to buy groceries to cook your own food and to supply your family its nutritional needs. It you also don't have $1 million a week to be paying for food to be flown in from Japan or for some other country. Yeah, you need local farming as close as possible. But in the city, you can't have it even close by. It has to come in from other states of the country. So there's other states for since the beginning of this country, other states have dedicated themselves to growing food, not building big cities, but growing the food to supply the big cities, which were big because they had transportation, they had the ocean or rivers close by where they can exchange, have commerce with other countries and other states easily. And these places became population hubs, and this is what made the big cities grow. And of course, when we created the trains, we extended the trains cross country. These made cities pop up as long as there were good transportation available, connection to main ports so that commerce can be done. Well, there the big population drew to because, of course, the big companies or the companies would grow there. They need more people. More people will come because there's jobs, there's employment, and of course, the whatever farms were there had to go because we have to make housing for these people who are employees of the big companies. So this is how the things evolve and the cities evolved. So then you have these big population areas, right? But you don't have your farmland there. The farms have to be someplace else. But the problem is that if the populated areas vote according to what they want, and it's not only voting who you want, is from your own group, right? Because like New Yorkers want a New Yorker, and Californians want a Californian, and you go into the San Francisco wants a San Franciscan. So we have that mentality that we want someone who represents us. This is a representative based country. It's not a true democracy, right? It's a representative democracy. It means that I vote for someone to go to Congress, to go to the legislative bodies to vote for me. And it's their decision. They can vote an agreement with my thinking, or they can vote in a different way. But I voted to have them go there. At least I have a chance that my way of thinking can prevail in some of the decisions, and then obviously they're voting against others in the country or with others, and the prevailing thoughts and the prevailing wants will get passed, right? And things work out that way, and we have to live with it. It's not that the representative only votes our way. That's not the way it works. But in any case, how is it that the farmer he has a 100-acre farm, he has 1,000-acre farm in the middle of Nebraska or Wyoming, whatever, Colorado? How are they going to have the fair voice, so that the decisions made where it counts in Washington, and a lot of the farming depends on what happens in Washington, D.C. See, because the farmers are not farming for Nebraskans. The farmers are not farming for Coloradians or Coloradans, whatever you call them. The farmers are not farming just for those who live in where their farms are. They're farming for San Franciscans, for New Yorkers, for Bostonians, for people in all the major cities. That's who they're farming for. See that? So but the decisions of city people and the wants of city people are not the same. Your interests, if you live in a big city, in a big populated area, your interests are not the same as the ones of the farmers. But you depend on the farmers to survive. So it isn't fair. You guys got to understand this. It is not fair for 1,000 people, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million people, 10 million people to decide who live in the city to vote for people who think the way they do, because you guys never think about how it is to run a farm or what things are needed for the farmer to survive, to bring his crops to harvest and to harvest them. You have no idea. So of course you're voting for people who know the big city, who want to do things for the big city, and what will happen is that you make decisions that will destroy your farms. And then you destroy the farmer, you destroy his livelihood, you destroy the farms, and guess what happens? You guys starve in the city. And of course you won't starve, because of course then you'll have to import from another country, and we don't have any controls of what they throw into the ground, how they grow their produce, how they kill their bugs, anything like that. And you're victim of any other country's policies, any other country's pricing. And you have to pay for the shipping. You're paying extra because this thing has to come from South America, from England, or from Africa, wherever, instead of coming from New Jersey or coming from two or three states away from where you're at. It's not in your hometown, but at least it's not in another country. So it gets silly, and you're destroying yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and that's what this type of thinking does. And it's a shame. I'm ashamed for, as an American, to have fellow Americans thinking this way. I'm ashamed for you, really am, because it's embarrassing. A lot of Democrats like to point out. They like to say that the conservatives are dumb, they're uneducated. Listen, but this is a total lack of understanding. So it's really embarrassing. I would be embarrassed as a Democrat to have people going around saying stuff like that. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm just saying, So, and now this person here says, "Oh, hello," and I mentioned my name, and she said, "Oh," "Oh." It wasn't "Oh, hello." It was "Oh," because now she realizes the reason for the Electoral College. But before I took the time to explain why it's important, I mean, she's just repeating the stuff that's being sent out there against Republicans, against the GOP, against Donald Trump. You can have your things against Donald Trump and your opinion of the GOP, but you don't need to be stupid to have that or to be so. And that's what I resent. I resent the stupidity or the lack of knowledge. I'm not saying that this lady is stupid. I'm not saying that. She honestly did not know. She wasn't there at school, or she didn't go to school in this country, or in the state of New York where I did, where I learned it. I don't know. She forgot. Happens. Okay? So that's so the thing is that let us educate ourselves and move on to better things. This is not a good argument. The Electoral College is totally necessary. And, if you get rid of it, let's examine this for a moment. What would happen if you get rid of the Electoral College? Well, simply the farmers will go down the drain. The country will then become hostage to a foreign power. Whoever can grow the bananas, whoever can grow the broccoli and the cauliflower, whoever can grow the beef, they're the ones that are going to control this country. Because it's almost like what's going to happen. Remember the gas prices? Remember how they will skyrocket? Oh, and then there will be not enough gas for everyone. Then you have to stand in a line on Monday if your name was started with. Remember, if anyone remembers that, say amen, because I remember those days. That's the same things are going to happen to your broccoli. It's going to be ridiculous. You're not going to be able to get eggs unless you come on a Monday. If your name begins with between A and C, come on Monday to the store for your one carton of eggs. It's going to be, it's frightening to see how much this country is pushing towards a communist type of format. It's needless. I don't know what you guys are going to do once this country, if Donald Trump is not reelected, and if this country doesn't get re-educated or educated, you just don't have the education you're supposed to have when you were a kid. It's astonishing. I would love to see what you guys are going to say then. I would love to see it. Okay? Because this is going to get silly. It's getting sillier by the day. And it's because of people who don't know. Simple. And the Democrats, I'm sorry, you guys are evil. I'm talking about the ones who know. The ones who know this, but they want to confuse the other Democrats who don't, and they want to manipulate the other Democrats who don't know this. Same for the liberals, etc., etc. You guys are evil because you're manipulating those who don't know toward a future that even you will not be able to manage. But of course, you know what they plan to do. They plan to do like the guys in Venezuela, right? Who are the guys who are protecting Maduro and the guys standing behind them on their stage, right? They're the ones who know, but they're on the in. They're on the inside. If you're a Democrat and you're watching this, you need to be careful. You need to be really careful because the people who are feeding you a lot of this garbage, they just want to be on the inside. They're not afraid of the country going down the tubes, of us losing our constitutional base, and of us becoming communists or socialists. They're not afraid of it. You know why? Because they're on the inside group, right? And you will always be the followers, the Democrats, who blindly voted Democrat. Grow a pair and vote Republican 2020 all the way to the top. Grow a pair. Take care. Have a good day.